people and those who are interested in finding out answers to their questions have turned to alternative media, have turned to the internet, have turned to citizen activists who are doing the same thing. They grab a camera and they go out and they seek the truth. And then when they put their newfound production skills together, they tell us the truth. And so that's how Loose Change even came to exist, because you couldn't count on CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, CNN, UPN, WB, BET, MTV, VH1. You couldn't count on them to tell us the truth. And so you had to take it upon yourself to tell the American people the truth. First of all, for yourself, to tell yourself the truth, to inform yourself of the truth. And then, once learning the truth, you felt compelled to tell other people the truth, to share that truth. I can tell you, as someone operating in the political milieu, that perhaps the most important question that remains unanswered is, who are we? Well, I think litigation, if the issue is subpoena power, litigation is one way to deal with that. Obviously, we've been through the congressional route, and as Congress is currently constituted, that's not going to work. So, again, what we now know is because of people power. And I think we have to go back to people power. The last bill that I introduced during my previous tenure in Congress, during 2002, was a piece of legislation that would have allowed the family members to participate in the Victims' Compensation Fund and not lose their ability to sue. It is clear to me that the construction of, or the construct of the Victim Compensation Fund was to quash the ability of the family members to have that necessary subpoena power to get at the truth. So litigation is always an answer. But what we've learned from the COINTELPRO experience is that in order to have successful litigation, you've got to have good lawyers. And what the counterintelligence program sought to do was to stymie legal actions by stacking the deck with bad attorneys. And we saw that happen, for example, after the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., with this intense effort to make sure that James Earl Ray had the right attorneys, who actually were the wrong attorneys, who were trying to get him to plead guilty so there wouldn't be a trial at all. So we've got to get as much onto the public record as possible, and that is going to be forced. That is not something that is going to happen miraculously out of the concern that the government authorities have for the well-being of the American people or the global community. We've already seen that that's not going to work. Well, as you know, I've been kicked out of Congress for a second time by the Republicans. And so I guess I have a unique story to tell. I've tried to tell the American people the truth. And this is what happens when you do something like that. So it's okay, because I understand that that's the way the game of politics is played. I wish it were different, however. And the only thing that we can do is to struggle together to make those kinds of changes so that no one else will go through what I've gone through just because I want to tell the truth, or because they choose to tell the American people the truth. The good thing I I think, is that we've seen a coming together. There is no left or right. There is no Democrat or Republican. There are those who seek the truth. And so we have truly built a movement based on one objective, and that's finding out the truth. So the True Rainbow Coalition that the writers of the COINTELPRO documents were so afraid of can happen today. They were afraid of it. They let us know they were afraid of it. They wrote it down. We were smart enough to read it. And so while they try to divide black and white and Asian and Latino, Native American, they want to divide us by race, ethnicity, language, gender, socioeconomic status, any kind of difference that exists between and among people, they would like to use as a means to drive a wedge between us. But because we are all joined in one mission, and that mission is for the truth about what happened on September 11th, because the implications and the ramifications have been so vast and so great and so earth-shattering in terms of the change of the character of our country and the change of who we are to the rest of the world and the impact on the global community that we all care so much about, we've been able to put those differences aside. I see good things happening. I see a greater America coming out of this tragedy as a result of our learning that we can work together for a much greater cause, and we must. I've read a lot of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s writings lately, and in one of them, he talks about silence.
There comes a time when silence is betrayal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Silence is betrayal. And there's another quote where he talks about those in